Hello, and welcome back. What's unfolding right now feels like one of those perfect storms the writers have always been so good at brewing. It started with Ava deciding to look into Delilah after Alexis quietly suggested it might be worth digging. That single nudge sent Ava straight into something far bigger than either of them expected, stirring up old dangers that none of us saw coming. Ethan's horror when he realized those enemies from his past were now following Delilah's trail right into Port Charles still lingers with me. We've followed Ethan through enough scrapes to know he's no stranger to trouble, but this time the trouble has roots that run deep into legacies. Delilah carries hidden fortunes, buried documents, artifacts that could rewrite the town's power structure. Her presence at the upcoming exhibition isn't just social, it threatens Ethan's safety and could finally expose the upper crust secrets Alexis has been chasing for what feels like forever. I paused the episode and actually said aloud to my empty living room, "Oh, honey, you're not just running anymore, you're being dragged back." And Ethan's response? He swallowed his pride and went straight to Ava for help, even though he's never particularly liked her. Ava, of course being Ava, smelled opportunity and set her condition. He would have to assist her in that illegal art heist if he wanted her silence. It was classic Ava. Calculated and risky, yet somehow true to the woman we've watched survive every storm Port Charles has thrown at her. Now the story has taken an even sharper turn, and this is where my heart really starts racing. Ethan had prepared a passport, thinking he could slip away quietly and leave the danger behind, but that plan has failed completely. Time is slipping through his fingers like sand, and every ticking second proves just how deep this new obsession has taken root inside him. It's not the usual adrenaline-fueled escape we've seen from him before. This feels different, more haunting, more relentless. He can't stop turning over Delilah's legacies in his mind, weighing every connection, every risk, while those old enemies circle closer. I've watched characters wrestle with obsessions for decades. Alexis with her quests for justice, Ava with her need to control the narrative, but Ethan's version feels uniquely raw because it's forcing him into one of the most profound adjustments of his Port Charles life. He's no longer the charming drifter who could vanish when things got too heavy. Now he's anchored here, compelled to recalibrate every relationship and every plan around this new reality. The failed passport isn't just a plot twist, it's proof of a fresh shock that's shaking him to his core. After all these years of viewing, I have to admit, I both love and worry about how perfectly it fits the spirit of the show. These characters have always lived on the edge of chaos, and this time the chaos feels personal, in a way that pulls at every long-held loyalty we've built with them. I find myself wondering and then answering my own question the way I always do after so many years, if this particular tangle will ultimately strengthen Ethan or erode the careful boundaries he's built. My heart says it will do both, because that's how General Hospital has always worked. No obsession leaves a character unchanged, and no escape plan survives contact with the past. And just when I thought the tension couldn't climb any higher, the story shifts focus to Britt in a way that has me reaching for the tissues. Britt is really panicking now that she knows Rocco is in danger. Cullum is ready to attack, and the threat feels immediate and terrifying. We've seen Britt fight fiercely for the people she loves. She's the kind of woman who doesn't hesitate when a child's safety is on the line. Her panic isn't dramatic for the sake of drama, it's the raw, protective instinct we've come to expect from her. The same fire that made us root for her through every medical crisis and personal heartbreak. I sat there watching her realize the full scope of the danger and felt that familiar twist in my chest, the one longtime viewers know so well. How many times have we seen mothers and guardians in Port Charles forced to make impossible choices? Britt's decision to act to save Rocco isn't just brave, it's the only choice that feels true to who she is. She's taking him out of Port Charles entirely, pulling him away from the gathering storm that now threatens to swallow everyone connected to these intersecting secrets. What I appreciate most about this development is how it weaves seamlessly into the larger tapestry. Ethan's failed escape and deepening obsession aren't happening in isolation. They're part of the same web that now endangers Rocco. Cullum's readiness to strike feels like the physical manifestation of all those buried legacies Delilah brings old enemies who won't stop at one target. Britt's bold move to get Rocco out of town is the kind of decisive action that reminds me why I've stayed loyal to the show for so long. It's not reckless, it's necessary. I've seen too many characters hesitate in the past and pay a terrible price, so watching Britt refuse to wait feels like a breath of fresh air. Of course, I can't help but wonder what this departure will mean for the fabric of Port Charles. Will Britt and Rocco find safety elsewhere, or will the secrets they carry pull them back into the fray? My own take, after decades of following these families, is that leaving isn't always an ending. It's often the beginning of an even deeper chapter. The show has taught us that Port Charles has a way of reaching out across distances, and I suspect this won't be the last we see of them. As someone who has invested a lifetime in these characters, I find myself reflecting on how these parallel crises reflect real life for so many of us watching at home. We reach a certain age and realize the past doesn't fade. It waits patiently until a single new element, perhaps a stranger arriving in town, perhaps a hidden threat to a child, brings it roaring back. Ethan's new shock and adjustment, the failed passport, the obsession with Delilah's diadem of secrets, they mirror the way our own histories sometimes demand we recalibrate everything. Britt's panic and her determination to spirit Rocco away speak to that fierce maternal core so many of us understand on a bone-deep level. We've cheered Alexis on through every setback, hoped Ava would find a way to protect without destroying, and now we're holding our breath for Britt and the little boy she's fighting to save. The writers are doing what they do best, reminding us that no one in Port Charles ever truly escapes their past, yet sometimes the only way forward is to grab the people you love and run. I've thought a lot about why these current arcs feel so satisfying to someone like me who has sat through countless afternoons with these families. It's because they honor the history while still pushing forward. Ava's scheme grows naturally out of her love for art and her willingness to bend rules. Alexis's suggestion wasn't meddling. It was the careful, determined step we've seen her take since she first practiced law here. Ethan's desperation feels earned after everything he's already endured. And Britt's panic over Rocco, her swift decision to leave it all, feels like the culmination of so many quiet threads finally pulling tight. The exhibition still looms, the enemies are closing in, time is running out for Ethan, and now a mother is choosing exile to protect a child. I don't always agree with how quickly the writers pile on the shocks. Sometimes I wish they'd let a character breathe a little longer, but in this case, it feels earned and emotionally honest. The new obsession, the new shock, the new adjustment, they're not just plot devices. They're the heartbeat of the show, the reason we keep coming back. There's also a deeper emotional layer here that speaks directly to us older viewers. We understand the weight of long-held secrets because we've carried a few ourselves. We know what it feels like to face someone you once clashed with and realize you need them more than you want to admit. We recognize the quiet thrill of watching a story build toward an exhibition that could change everything, much like the way our own lives sometimes hinge on a single event that reveals truths we weren't ready to see. I find myself hoping, perhaps against the odds, that Ethan will find a way through his obsession without losing the man he's fought to become. I hope Britt and Rocco reach safety and that her sacrifice doesn't cost her more than she can bear. I hope Alexis finally gets the answers she deserves about the upper echelon, even if the cost is higher than any of us want to see. And most of all, I hope the show continues to reward those of us who have been here since the beginning by letting these characters grow through their pain rather than simply suffer for ratings. What's unfolding feels like one of those perfect storms the writers brew so well. Ethan prepared a passport thinking he could slip away from the old enemies trailing Delilah, but that plan has failed completely. Time is slipping away, proving how deep this new obsession has taken root inside him. It's not just escape anymore. It's a haunting pull toward Delilah's legacies and the secrets that could rewrite everything. His reluctant deal with Ava for the illegal art heist still hangs over him, a calculated risk that feels true to both their histories. Meanwhile, Alexis's quiet suggestion to investigate Delilah has stirred dangers none of us saw coming, threatening to expose upper-crust secrets at the upcoming exhibition. And just when the tension couldn't climb higher, Britt's panic over Rocco has taken center stage in the most heartbreaking way. She knows Cullum is ready to strike, and her decision to take Rocco out of Port Charles entirely shows the raw maternal instinct we've admired in her for years. What moves me most is how Britt might now draw on the strength and information Lucas possesses to make this escape work. Lucas has always been the steady, caring presence in her life, the kind of man whose quiet knowledge and resources could be the very lifeline she needs right now. I've watched their bond grow through every medical crisis and family heartbreak, and seeing her possibly lean on that power feels earned and hopeful. It's the sort of alliance that reminds us why we root for these characters. They don't face danger alone. Of course, this brings a fresh set of troubles tied directly to the recent changes swirling through Port Charles. The shifts in alliances and threats aren't isolated. They're creating ripples that test every character's limits. I paused the episode and wondered aloud whether these new complications will strengthen the bonds we've cherished or pull them apart in ways that hurt to watch. My own take after decades of viewing is that the writers are doing what they do best, showing that change in Port Charles always comes with cost, yet it also opens doors to unexpected courage. Then there's the chilling possibility that Cullum could switch his attack from Rocco to Danny. The danger feels immediate and personal, like the past refusing to stay quiet. Danny has always carried that quiet resilience we've seen in his family line, but this shift would raise the stakes even higher, forcing everyone to recalibrate in real time. I find myself hoping the show handles this turn with the emotional honesty it's known for, letting the threat highlight the protective love that binds these families rather than simply piling on shock. And threading through it all is the news that Jason will return. His homecoming isn't just a cameo, it's igniting a brand new obsession that proves yet another layer of fixation taking hold in Port Charles. We've seen Jason's presence reshape lives before, his quiet strength and complicated history acting like a magnet for trouble and redemption alike. This return is already stirring something deeper, in Ethan's own obsessions and in the larger web of secrets, showing how one man's arrival can reignite old flames and force everyone to confront what they thought was settled. I've followed Jason's journeys through enough twists to know his return will ripple outward, touching Britt's escape plan, the threats to Danny, and even Ethan's narrowing window of safety. It feels like proof that the show understands what longtime viewers crave. Not random shocks, but obsessions that grow naturally from character and history.